All right, welcome back. Let's continue this conversation now on the delisting of those registered voters by Inec, and now being joined on the program by Omori Aigbe, who is the senior program monitoring and evaluation officer of the Center for Democracy and Development (CDD). He joins us live now from Accra, Ghana. Mr. Aigbe, thank you very much for your time. Understandably, this issue is generating a lot of controversy. Some people are just suspicious of INEC's motive and all of that. What do you make of it?
So thanks for having me. It's an interesting conversation. But, I think sometimes the way we frame our communication does matter. When we use the word like INEC delist or maybe the way INEC had framed it, maybe was not framed correctly, it's not delisting. So INEC is in the process of improving the voter register. We already have a national voter register for Nigeria. In 2019, there were 84 million people, registered voters in the country. INEC opened up the registration portal last year, June, if you remember, and it began with an online registration and gradually move on to offline. And the rule for registration at that time was that even if you register online, you still have to come physically to do the thumb printing and finalize the process. The essence is for the biometrics to be sure that the facial capturing and the finger are properly taken so that the issues that have been raised recently by some political coalition would have been avoided. So part of what the word deregistration is not, we are not yet at the point of registered voters.
Voters, okay, I get
these are
point.
people who showed interest to be added to the national register. So what has happened, there are many people, particularly some of us who live abroad, who wanted to, who have showed interest to add their name to the register of voters, but did not appear to complete the process. That is one. A huge chunk of that belongs to this over 1 million. A second a population of people were those who did not follow the prescribed procedure. Apparently, the picture they used, because they're supposed to have taken two pictures, one, a picture that there's a still picture, and another that has an emotion. We have to bring maybe like what we usually would call the laughing picture. You need a picture that one you have to smile, another you have to be still. Most of the pictures that were taken did not follow those rules. A third, if there's a third, is that there are many people who have registered before. They've registered before, but I think we have addressed this particular case before. They've registered before, but they forgot the names they used. I repeat, they forgot the names they used.
That's right. That's really funny anyway.
Of birth.
Huh? I said that's really funny that people will forget the names they used to register.
I intentionally said I repeat because there are people who had 3 names, supposedly. There are people who, I'll use our president's name because that looked more like a good example. President Buhari, some people spell President Buhari's name with a U, Muhammadu. Others don't add the U. Some people, when spelling the president's name, we add the U, whereas there is no U in President Muhammad's name. If you add a U to try to search your name, or because what we have discovered with interrogating INEC processes was that people will appear at the registration point. They are asked, have you registered before? They say, no, they've not registered before. All right, what's your name? They try to search for their name. When they can't find it searching for their names, they try to ask, what's your date of birth? Some remember the day they were born, but they apparently forgot the year they wrote. And you know this, where our system works. There are people who are born like 5 times in maybe over the last 10 years. So they remember that maybe their date of birth is February 10th, or maybe like my date of birth, August 15th. It could be 1980 today. It could be 1983 tomorrow. It could be 1985 the other day. So people, even if you put 15th August, and you forgot that it was 1981 that you used to register, you went ahead to put 1982, the data will not show up. So those individuals, because they can't search for their name, they have to re-register them. But before Inec will then add up this pre-registration to the National Register, they need to do what they call the cleanup. And that's almost everybody know the name. They have this process. This process they run does not just use name. It also uses the facial recognition. If there's a match that your face does appear by way of this device they are using, the app or whatever they call it, if it matches, the new registration will be flagged, and that new registration will be deleted. And these are all these numbers. That does not mean that the old one has been removed. So what the person just needs to do is to go to where he registered and apparently try to remember the name or the date of birth he or she used. Those were the cases. One, people who didn't show up to complete their process. Two, people who apparently had to re-register. Three, people didn't follow up the rule of the registration.
Now, why is it important for INEC to do this? Because that's what we've had situations. We've had some people argue that, look, well, that there is the position of the law on double registration or multiple registration, that INEC should not have gone ahead to do this delisting, if you like. That what INEC should have done would be to allow the courts to decide. And I'm just wondering, what's your take on that?
So there's a process. You see, I was among those who had actually asked INEC, why would you take so much time giving people a PVC? Just register, get a PVC and walk away. And INEC said, no, that's not a procedure. They've got to screen their list. The National Register, the National Voter Register is one of the, arguably, the single most important electoral document. Single most important electoral document, just like the budget is in economy in the fiscal year. That's what the National Voter Register is to our electoral process. If the electoral voter register is manipulated, that's where the first aspect of manipulation of election begins. So if one person can register more than 10 times, that individual can actually vote that 10 times.
Yes.
Then what's that? So we know from historical perspective that the register is the beginning of what is generally referred to as a rigging process. Put names, all manner of names in, and like I said just now, you have seen on media, coalition of political party raising many of those issues. So if those individuals allegedly you said they use names from Asia, names from the America, names from Ghana and elsewhere, if those names find their way into our national voter register, then the credibility of the election is already called to questioning. That is why INEC takes time. I was one of those, if you remember, it was on your show, where we advocated that there was need for INEC to extend the period of CVRO for another month or two.
Yes.
Based on the argument that there was an hurricane of young people showing up to register. So INEC need to listen and ensure that they have the time. And we all agreed, and INEC then said, okay, fine, we will extend. And don't forget there was a court process. I mean, one of the civil society has gone to court to ask that INEC must not stop. And the court apparently gave INEC the leeway, and INEC stopped. And it stopped in July after 1 month extension. So what I haven't now got to ask a lot of critical questions. I discovered that INEC will need some time to clean up. The word is clean up that national document, that voter register. And this is what we are saying. If we are running to an election with this magnificent in electoral register, would have called to question the election of February and March of 2023. I think it is let's monitor INEC. Let's give them close marking that what they said they want to do, they are doing it, and that they are talking to us appropriately. Then we are able to understand and follow them with that trend. If they don't, all manner of information will come in. This is election period where all manner of information will come, electoral disinformation, all manner of claims, perception. People are going to always buy any news that affect them. I think we should monitor Inec. The issue raised by the coalition of political parties should not be thrown away, but use that to try to check at what point is Inec right? At what point is the coalition right? But in any case, all eyes on 2023 election, but the process leading to 2023 election matter for the day of election. The day of election is almost inconsequential. A process, the electoral process is more important than the voting day. And the process, one of those processes is the National Voter Register. And if it's not good enough, there will be problem with the national elections.
Omori Aigbe, Senior Monitoring and Evaluation Officer of the Center for Democracy and Development. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Well, that's how much we can take on the program this week. We thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.